welcome back to the garden. So today we're going to be doing whipped shea butter with beeswax. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss this. Okay, so welcome to the kitchen. We are going to start off with our raw organic shea butter. I use raw unrefined shea butter, and I also use yellow beeswax. The amounts depend on what size of the containers you actually need. So I'm doing 4-ounce containers, so I just eyeball how much shea butter I actually need. So with that shea butter, you're going to want to take the yellow beeswax, and put it inside of your okay, so you want to put your yellow beeswax in first because that takes longer to melt. Put that on a low heat. Spread it around the bottom of it. Remember, you want this on a low heat because you don't want it to actually start to cook, because once it starts to cook and smoke starts to come up, it's no good anymore. Then we start adding in our organic shea butter to the mixture. Okay. Turn the heat up a tad bit, but not a lot. It's gonna start to melt. So next, you want to get your mixing bowl ready so that once it's melted, you can put it straight into the mixing bowl. Okay, so I have everything melted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right into the mixing bowl. You'll still see some chunks of shea butter, but it will melt as I put it in. And now you put it in the freezer. So depending on how much you have, you put it in the freezer for, I don't know, that much, maybe about 15-20 minutes, but until it starts to look like this. As you see, if you stick it in, it's still kind of soft. And it's still, yeah. So it went back to a solid state. So now it's time to start mixing. I use a flat beater versus a wire whisk, just because the shea butter is really thick and the wire whisk will probably break over a period of time. I find that this is a lot better to use. Okay, so we're gonna start whipping it, and you start it off on a low speed. And then gradually increase the speed. It's going to start to look like that. It's going to cake up on the sides. So you want a stiffer type of spatula to do that, because you want to scrape it. You want to scrape it off the sides. Because you see how it's still hard right there? Still scrape it off the sides. One reason why it's so stiff is because there's beeswax in it, and shea butter itself is a very saturated type of oil, so it's already going to be very, very stiff. Then we're just going to put it back in and continue to beat it. So that's been about a minute of beating it. Just take a look at it again to make sure that See how it's starting to become a different type of consistency? And now it's easier to scrape out. It's starting to become more malleable. Okay, ready again to start whipping it again. On a high speed, probably for another minute or so. Let's go. So that was about another minute. Let's see how it turned out. See how it's easier now? See how it's becoming softer? You can actually hear it becoming more whipped also. Now it has the consistency of a thick dough right now. All right. We put it back in for another minute. High speed. Okay, so that was like, now it's getting a lot better. Starting to heat up a little bit by the beating action, and I can actually take a smaller spatula, and as you see, it's becoming very easy to maneuver the oil. Actually, I think it's about done. Okay, so we finished whipping it. We had to melt it first, then put it in the freezer, and now we had to whip it. We finished the whipping, and it became kind of soft, but not really. There's beeswax in it, so it's kind of difficult to maneuver with. So you just take your containers, whatever container you have, you might have a, ooh. You see how it gets stiff very quickly? Yeah, it's almost like a dough consistency. And there you have it. You have 2 whipped shea butters. And you can use this on your skin. I really don't recommend using it on your face just because of shea butter's not good for your face, period. The beeswax, if you use it for your hair, I would recommend not using shea butter with the beeswax. Just using shea butter alone. But you still can whip it the same method, but just don't add the beeswax into it. I have it on my hands right now and it feels awesome. So remember, use raw unrefined shea butter, organic if possible, and also use yellow beeswax. That's the best for both worlds. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about what the process is or anything about the ingredients, leave a comment in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.